another Screenfish one-on-one. I'm so excited today to be speaking with Adeel Akhtar, the star of Ava and Ali. Adeel, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
It's wonderful to chat with you. The film's beautiful,
Oh, thanks.
and congratulations on your BAFTA nom. I understand you got a BAFTA
Yeah,
nom for the role.
yeah, got nominated for it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's.
No, it's,
Sorry, go ahead, please.
yeah, no, just and it's just complete surprise. Just because I think with the BAFTA awards, it seems like they're casting the net pretty wide. So you have your sort of like your big Hollywood films in there, but also they're sort of keeping an eye on sort of the British independent sort of film world as well. So yeah, and we're firmly in that category. We're not it's a low budget sort of British independent film. So just feel very lucky to be in amongst that crowd, really.
Well, you're honestly you're wonderful in the film, and this is, as you say, it's firmly in the independent category. But my goodness, the relationship you have in the film in your performance with I'm
Claire,
sorry,
It's- yeah,
your
Claire Rushbrook
co-star.
is good. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, Lydia, it's just wonderful in the film.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. It was yeah. We're very lucky. We've got I mean, we had Clio Barnard directing, who is in essence like just an amazing collaborator,
mm,
um, to the core. And yeah, working with Claire and working with Clio, it just felt like a really sort of free and easy space to explore these characters and really delve into sort of stuff that I feel isn't ordinarily seen on screen. Two people who are born in a certain part of Bradford, who sort of um, culturally it would seem are very distant from each other, and there'll be no reason for them to sort of be in each other's orbit, finding each other through sort of a need and sort of a need for a connection. And yeah, I still can talk about it for ages just because it still feels really fresh and new as an experience when I did it. And this is like a couple of years ago now when we, did it. And so it's, yeah, really special film for me. I really think about it a lot still.
yeah, it comes across. I was wondering, like, um, obviously it's a great script, but what drew you to the character of Ali? How do you connect with him?
Well, it was a pretty non-traditional way in which I got involved in the film. I met Clio maybe 2017 at Toronto Film Festival. We both had films out at the time, and she for us in the UK is like, for me anyway, is one of the best directors we have. There's a sort of group of them that I whose films I've always watched. And I just asked my agent, I was like, is it at all possible, even just to sort of sit down and have a chat with her, even if it didn't even turn into a film opportunity, just to sort of pick her brain and, see how she makes films. And so we were both at the same film festival in Toronto. And then my agent told me that she was there, and then we met up and had a conversation over a couple of glasses of wine. And then we reconnected with each other in London, where she showed me these transcripts of actual people in Bradford who she was thinking of basing the film on. And then that sort of very easily and gradually turned into more fleshing out of these characters into a script form, more traditional script. So from the off, it was a really sort of, it's not how I would normally get a job, which would be through an audition process or just being made an offer and then having the script written. This was definitely um, stuff that was building from the ground up. There was times when there wasn't a script written, and then when the scripts were written, it was always swapping and changing because we had such a wonderful sort of collaborative exchange with each other. And yeah, I could keep going on about it because it just feels like nothing else I've done before. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, so it sounds like you were just sort of involved in helping bringing him to life from the very beginning,
yes.
sort of helping flesh him out.
yeah. I'd say so,
Right?
but I would also sort of be. I would like step back from making any kind of claim that, like, overstating my claim of like how. I mean, it's basically off the back. If there's any involvement on my part in the film, it's because of the generous, sort of collaborative, open nature of Clio, who welcomed all that stuff in. Um, and so if there was any moment that, there were spots of maybe bits of improvisation or bits that I could really contribute to, it was only because she was so generous with her process that allowed that to happen. You felt really confident that if you shared something, it was somebody was really listening.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, having said that, I was wondering what you think Ali is looking for his character.
yeah. I think he's just looking for a connection. I think both Ali and Ava are sort of stuck in an idea of how they think they should be, and I think they find themselves pretty isolated in these the emotions that they have. They can't really, they don't have people around them who really get it or understand, or who they can connect with. And I think they manage to find each other and find that connection with each other, and that's, I think, all they were striving for. And I think that's why at the end of the film, maybe a reading is like this need for connection is beyond, this sort of societal or worldly constraints. They're kind of um, the need to have somebody witness you or see you is beyond even yourself. It's kind of, it's a real need in people, and once people find it, they just sort of can't let it go, really.
Mm, mm, yeah, absolutely. One of the things I thought that this threads that goes through the film so beautifully is music. The
Yes.
power of music. It begins with it. It ends with it. You've got all sorts of different styles, and Dylan uh,
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Um, I was wondering what it is about the power of music to you that helps build that connection or build bridges.
Yeah, I wonder what it is. I think maybe it's something in the same thing that, very intense emotions can do as well, and they sort of bypass your critical thought just long enough for you to feel a part of something. um and yeah, and for people, I had a conversation with this about somebody just yesterday, and it was with two guys the same sort of generation. This is maybe kind of pre Spotify, where bands really sort of meant something. They meant, because you didn't have anything else to compare it to apart from what your big brother told you, what people told you about. And and I think music still holds that power. Music holds the power. Like, it shows maybe this idea that your allegiance is to something beyond yourself, and then you look for other people who also share in that with you as well. And I think that allegiance is towards, like, connection. People want to connect, and they want to be a part of things. Yeah. So I think that's the power of music for me, anyway. And I think Ali slowly sort of stretches his mind around that sort of concept a bit.
Yeah, because it really sort of it helps change. It sort of changes both Ava and Ali
Yeah,
throughout the film, and I love that it takes gets past those walls.
yeah, yeah,
I
and
love that.
yeah, no bigger wall than folk and punk, really. Like, if Ali's like the sort of, he's the punk guy, or loves that sort of high energy, frenetic music where it's all right there and it's moving really fast, and Ava's sort of s- is more slow moving in her understanding of what music is, and even in their sort of the pace of which these characters live, they sort of live on at that tempo. You know, and Ali is frenetic and fast moving, and Ava is more slow moving and taking the world in. So they sort of manage to exchange that energy with each other, and then they end up, you know, like we all do whenever you sort of introduce a band that you really love to a love, you know, somebody who you really in a relationship with, and they start hearing things that they never heard before in the music that they were introduced to, you know, and it just keeps going. Really, it just goes deeper and further and deeper and further for them, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like sharing of stories. It's beautiful. It's beautiful in the
Yeah,
film.
yeah,
Okay, so I realize that your character doesn't say this, but there's a line that Ava says that I think is again a very poignant moment. It's I think I'm getting it correctly. Is a child is crawling up the climber and says you have the it's easier to get up, but you have to have the strength to go back down again.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
it seemed to fit the characters and their journeys throughout the film. This moment. I was wondering what it means. What do you think it means to have the strength to go back down?
Sure, sure. Yeah, and not that it matters. I think it's something like if you're brave to climb up, you've got to be brave to climb. It's
That's it.
something about bravery and courage. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, I think. Well, I suppose I don't know if this is too deep a reading of it, but I suppose in our attempt to sort of understand and accumulate things, you know, stuff or even knowledge or anything, it's like the appetite for that can be sort of voracious. You just want to quickly get the stuff, you know, and you want to you want the ascension to be really quick. You want to get to the height of whatever wherever you're going, you know, that's fueled by whatever, you know, like ambition or whatever else it can be. But the idea of when you get to the top and understanding that there has to be a careful disassembling of that as well. There has to be a careful kind of um, uh, like a soft landing, you know, uh, is something that just don't really think about that much, you know, especially when it's in the pursuit of like love. Um, and I think she's, even though she's talking to the little girl there, I think she's also reflecting or having a bit of an insight into Ali's character, where he's, you know, to an extent sort of charmed her and wooed her and was really quick to get into this relationship with Ava. But it was also a comment on Ali as well. It's like, well, if you're quick enough to get into this relationship and you're quick enough to sort of, you also have to, there's a certain responsibility that comes with that as well. You have to take care of yourself and the relationship that you're in. So, and I don't, again, might be a bigger reading of it, but I think it's somewhere where Clio pictures her films as well. There's something about the idea that not only is it a film that kind of you feel held by, but it's also a film that gives you a point of focus and it's sort of leading the audience somewhere. So even sort of charts for me the idea of how she makes films. Like there's an ascension into an understanding, but by the end of it, you still feel like you're sort of, there's a soft landing at the end of it. You don't feel like you're sort of hanging up there untethered or whatever. I think there's something, talking a lot about it, but there's something really profound about that line,
yeah,
which is which I think carries a lot of weight, even amongst how Clive makes the films and the characters' interactions with each other. But it's something to do with responsibility, I think. If you're going to take people on this journey, there's a responsibility to sort of make this sort of landing soft, you know, take care of them on the way down, sort of thing.
yeah. It's funny because again, it's I would say it's a throwaway moment because it isn't. They call it back later on in the film. There's a
Yeah,
callback later on in the film, but
yeah,
there's something so beautiful about that line that sort of just it sticks. And I think you're right. I think it really speaks to the characters' journeys and
yeah.
as well. Um, I I know that we're running out of time, Adeel, but I was just wondering what you hope people take away from the film.
Yeah, yeah. I think my hope is that they just, for a moment, and for the time that they're in the cinema, realize that this need to connect with other people can sort of transcend the idea of culture and race and even age. There's something more important that we all have in common, which is our humanity. And yeah, I hope that I hope that's the sentiment they sort of take away.
I appreciate that, and honestly, the film is wonderful.
Oh,
You're
thank
wonderful in it. You're both
you. Oh,
wonderful in it.
yeah,
Um,
thank you.
so thank you so much
Yeah,
for your
thank
time.
you. Thanks for this lovely chat. It's really nice.
I really
Yeah,
appreciate it. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I really appreciate it. I wish you the best.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Cheers. Yeah, yeah.
Have a great day.
I'll see you soon. All right. Bye.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Bye. Bye. Bye.